actually tested out my microphone today before starting filming, if you can believe it. Did not do that last week. I was literally wearing this microphone, and then at one point I was holding it like this, and it was not on the entire time. Anyways, today we're going to be making this top. I originally wasn't actually going to do a tutorial on this top just because it is absolutely the most simple thing I've ever made in my life. I felt like it would be a little bit silly for me to make a tutorial on this, but I posted it on my Instagram story and I got the most reactions and the most DMs that I've ever received for any item that I've ever made. I feel like that just goes to show that sometimes less is more, and you don't always need to overcomplicate things. So I've decided that I am going to give you a tutorial. It's actually inspired off of a Jaded London top that I saw, and I hyper fixated on it, but it was $90. So I just spent a lot of time trying to figure out how the fabric had been cut. Well, it was knitted, so how it had been like shaped. And I think that this is pretty much exactly what they've done, but I could be wrong. So we're going to do that today. You're going to feel so silly for going so feral over this top because it is literally the easiest thing that you'll ever make. You could literally learn how to crochet right now and then make this top an hour later. I wish this pattern existed when I first started crocheting because I would have felt like such a baddie being like, oh, I learned how to crochet today and I made a top today. I just want to say quickly, if you haven't checked out the community forum yet, go and have a look. The private community, I put patterns in there. I do like weekly journal prompts. I'm going to move the group chats and all of that over to Discord because then we can have different channels for different chats. And also I'm thinking of hosting some lives in there where we do like co-working sessions and fun things like that. And then obviously there is also the free community where I do like creative challenges. I'll post resources in there, all of that kind of stuff. So feel free to go have a look. I'm gonna show you what you will need for today's pattern. This is gonna sound so juvenile, but my boyfriend cleaned my room for me today. I was making myself breakfast and then he cleaned my room while I was doing that so that I could get started on work. Don't settle for a stupid man, guys. If you're gonna date a man, date a good man. But I don't know where he's put anything. And I don't want to message him and be like, where did you put this? Because then he's gonna be like, bitch, I cleaned your room for you, figure it out. Okay, let me see if I can find, oh, it's right here. Now I feel silly. Okay, this is the original top here. The reason I'm showing you this is just because I'm using a slightly different yarn today than what I used for this. It's the same composition, so it's 100% cotton, but this is a 4-ply, so it's slightly lighter weight than the yarn I'm going to be using today. You don't really need to do a gauge swatch for this. You can just make it as you go and shape it to your body. It's not really necessary. I do recommend using a 100% cotton yarn just because of the way it sits and flows and allows stretch. What I'm going to be using today, 100% cotton. This is an 8-ply, so it's just a little bit heavier. The only reason I'm using this today is because this was on sale. Most yarns will tell you on the back what hook size to use. So this one says 4mm. I would go up a size for this pattern to give you that extra stretch. I've lost my 5mm hook. I don't know how I always lose my things, but I'm gonna use a 5.5mm hook. It's not that much bigger of a difference. It doesn't really bother me that much. For my original top, I used 3 of these. So I'm gonna just say about that. It's really more about length. So it depends on how long you want it to be. That's everything. Let's get into it. Okay, so you're going to start off with a slip knot and you're just going to chain as much as it takes until you get to the length that I will show you in a moment. Try to have quite a medium to loose tension here. You don't want your chains to be super tight, but you don't want them to be extremely loose as well. There doesn't need to be a specific amount of chains that you do here, just however many it takes to get to the length that I'll show you. Okay, I'm going to show you from here because I don't want to move my tripod. You just want the chain to kind of be the length from right at the base of my neck down the middle to just about where my belly button is. If you want it longer, chain longer. If you want it shorter, chain shorter. I've chained about 50 here, so just play around with it until you're happy with the length. When you start working into the chain, the tension will change how wide it actually is. So your chain could end up wider or shorter than this depending on your tension. That's why I say to try and have like a medium kind of tension so that it stays roughly the same length that you make it. So once you have your chain, you're just going to do an extra 2 chains and this will work as your turning chain. From here, we're going to start working double crochets into each chain. So you're going to do a double crochet into the 3rd chain from the stitch. Those last 2 stitches that we did counted as a turning chain. So you don't work into them. It's just to create the height of a double crochet. So from here, you're going to yarn over, find that 3rd chain. So we've got 1 here. That's 2. This is the 3rd one here. You're just going to insert your hook into that 3rd chain and then you're going to yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And we're basically just going to double crochet into every single chain that we've done. So again, we'll go yarn over, insert into the next chain, yarn over, bring up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And you're just going to keep repeating that process all the way to the end of your chain. I'm at the end of my chain now, so I'm just going to do one last double crochet in this final stitch here. And then this is basically how you're going to start every single row from this point forward. So all you need to do is chain 2. Again, this will work as your turning chain, so it doesn't count as a double crochet. Then you're going to turn the work, yarn over, and you're going to insert into this very first stitch here. And then you'll just do a double crochet as normal. You're just going to do a double crochet into the next stitch. At the end here, you're just going to work into the top of this double crochet. So don't work into this turning chain here because again, like I said, it doesn't count as its own stitch. You're just looking for the top of this double crochet. If you find it hard to find the top of that last stitch, it will be to the left of the post. So you're just going to double crochet into there. And then you're just going to keep doing your sequence as normal. So just chain 2, turn the work, double crochet into that first stitch. And you're just going to keep following that back and forth until you have as many rows as you need. I'm just going to quickly show you the shape that it's at now that it's got some stitches worked into it. I've maintained the same tension the whole way through. So I've done the same tension that I did for the chains that I'm now doing here. And this is why it's so important because now the top is still the same length that I chained it. So if you're finding that your top has shrunk now that you've worked stitches into your chain, it could be that your tension is too tight. If you're finding that it's expanding, your tension's probably a little bit too loose. So just try and maintain the same tension. A lot of absolute beginners have a really tight tension because they're trying to figure out how to hold the yarn. So it might just take a little trial and error. It should have a little bit of stretch to it and it shouldn't be hard to work into your chains when you're working into them. So just keep doing back and forth what I showed you before and you're going to do it for quite a while. It's going to be like one really, really long scarf. I think my original top was about 2 meters long. By the time that seems a little bit long. I don't think it was that long. This is why I'm saying, you guys, like this feels so silly to even be doing a tutorial on this right now because it's just like one big scarf. Okay, obviously a very aggressive lighting change. It's now nighttime. Annoyingly, I've run out of yarn. So let this be a lesson to you to always buy maybe one more skein than you think you need. You can always use the extra skein if you don't use it for something else. So I'm just going to show you how you're going to basically stitch everything together. So this is how long mine is now. So it needs to be even longer than this. Like I know that this looks long, but it needs to be even longer than this. I am just going to show you how to stitch this together now, and then I'll show you how to tie it in different ways using my original top. This is my original top. Obviously I can't unfold it because it's been stitched together, but this is what it looks like folded in half. So imagine that double. All right, so once you've figured out where you need to basically seam up until, a good idea is to put a stitch marker in the last stitch that you'll be doing your seam in. If you don't have any stitch markers, bobby pins will work just fine as well. So you'll just fold your panels in half and then you're just going to be working along this edge here. All you're going to do is a single crochet seam. If you don't know how to do that, it's literally just when you're doing a single crochet through both sides instead of into one side. Every double crochet is worth 2 single crochets, but the way that I like to seam is I like to work 1 single crochet around the double crochet here and then 1 into this stitch. If you pull your panel, you'll be able to see that there's rows where it's the double crochets and then these little circles here, which are the stitches that your double crochets have been worked into. So you're going to do 1 single crochet per double crochet and 1 single crochet into these little circles here. It's also important to note that with every second row of double crochet, you're going to have that chain 2 starting chain, and that's what you're going to work in behind instead of behind this post here. So to start off, you're going to chain 1 and then you're going to insert the hook in this first gap here, and then on the opposite side your first row will have that chain 2 at the beginning. Insert your hook into that space between the chain 2 and the first double crochet, and then you're just going to do a single crochet, which is just yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Then you're going to be up to a row of these little circles, so you'll just insert your hook into that one and then find that row on the opposite side, which is just here, so this circle right here, and again do a single crochet. Now on this side we're up to a double crochet that also has a chain 2 next to it, so we're going to insert the hook in between the chain 2 and the double crochet. And then on the opposite side, it will just be the double crochet. And you're just going to keep doing that all the way up until you make it to your marked stitch. And then when you make it up to your marked stitch, it should be the same row on either side. So this marked stitch here is a row of the little circles. And on the opposite side, that's also where I'm up to. So then for your last stitch, you're going to do a single crochet. Then you're just going to chain 1, cut your yarn and pull that through to fasten it off. And that's it. I'm going to show you how to style this top once you have made it. It is so bright. I actually can't even look directly at the camera right now. Every time I try to look at the camera, my eyes start to burn. I'm sure you guys will come up with other more creative ways of wearing this, but this is what I like to do. So this is the first option, one arm out. So the seam will be down the side here. You can also put both arms through and have like an off the shoulder kind of moment. I actually love this one as well. The one that I just showed you is my favorite, but this is definitely up there as well. So you want to have the seam at the very back. The way that literally everyone went crazy over and went absolutely feral and were threatening to track me down if I don't post a tutorial for is the way that I'm about to show you right now. So absorb everything I'm about to show you. It's really easy. I don't know why I'm acting like it's going to be really difficult for you. Literally all you need to do is put your whole torso through the opening so that the opening is sitting down here. And then you're just going to take these two ends here and you're going to tie it behind your neck. That is all there is to it. It's so easy. I can't believe everyone went so feral over this, but that's all there is to it. Okay. Toodles.